clap. So hello everybody, my name is Shanila Sattar and I am the founder of Always Play Studios. It's a virtual wellness studio where we do sound baths, breath work, energy healing, and we also train people to become sound bath and breathwork healers. And I also run this group called the Integrative Wellness Leaders, which is a collective of leaders that promote different types of integrative wellness, so emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. And we're a little collective that promote each other and really uplift each other, especially in this climate. We really need that collective to kind of stick together and just really promote this wellness space. And so lately we've partnered up with WellSet, who is hosting this event series with us, and we're basically doing free virtual gatherings for the next couple weeks. And we were just going to do this, on Instagram Live just 1 week, but because of the demand and people kept showing up and saying how much they loved experiencing these workshops, we decided to kind of just have it indefinitely for the time being. As long as you guys keep coming, we're going to keep hosting them. And so without any further ado, we have Shakil today. He's the founder of Alpha Health, and I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for that. I just wanted to first say thank you to Shanila and the Integrative Wellness community. They're truly creating a collective of individuals that transcend the normal medium of trying to take care of the body, which I appreciate. Thank you for that. WellSet, thank you for your platform. It was great finally meeting the team. I just had a lot of fun with them, and it's fascinating how when this whole Corona thing started, WellSet was right on top of it, trying to connect the community, and I really appreciate that. So that's that. And I want to thank all of you guys that are attending right now. You guys are taking the time out of your day. You're literally carving out a time to be here to really learn one of the most foundational things I've picked up from my medical career. So thank you. So let's get started. So who am I? So I am Shakil Ahmed, as you saw. Just a quick background of where I've been and why am I here right now. So I started my career in biochemistry. I learned how proteins work inside cells, and that fascinated me. My whole life, I was trying to figure out what is the meaning of life. But I went down the sciences, so I thought, what is the meaning of a cell? So as I finished school, I ended up being trained as an osteopath. So if many of you are aware, as an osteopath, you see it like a holistic view of medicine. You don't think that if you have an elbow pain, you just think that something's wrong with the elbow. No, we see it as a holistic approach. And so that fascinated me, intrigued me, sort of ensnared me to pursue more and more of medicine. After medicine, I realized, how do I help the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time? Because I'm young, I'm a millennial, we want to speed up the process of everything. So I realized software is the key. Headspace, all these mindfulness apps, they're all leveraging what's becoming known as digital therapeutics, where your doctor can prescribe you an app for any of these issues that doctors are not really good at. So in my case, I'm going after diabetes. That's one of the biggest killers in our country. And it has a lot of forks to other diseases. But yeah, that's the software I'm building. But also I optimize the human form. So Alpha stands for 3 fundamental things: movement, nutrition, mindset. If you apply all these, imagine them as like ice cubes, and you put them in a glass of water and you swirl them around, you get optimal health. And it took me 10 plus years to figure that out. And the core to all of this, though, is breathing, the breath. I mean, let's just say it's a secondary layer to the heart, but the diaphragm, the lungs, it's one of those vital things. So let's think about one thing. Let's say you don't have food. How long do you think you would survive? 5 days, 10 days? Anyone? Any answers you think? Without food, 30 days. Perfect. Paulina, you're right. How about without water? Let's try that one. Come on, Paulina. Yep. Oh, there we go, Ms. Robertson. 3. Yep. Perfect. How about without oxygen? Anyone? Yeah. So think about that. The logic. 3 minutes. Yep, Ms. Robertson. So anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. The moment your brain is deprived of oxygen, you cease to exist. And this is, Shanila, good try. 20 minutes. I dare you to go for 20 minutes. But let's think about this. Something that's in the air, we breathe it in, and without it, for 3 to 5 minutes, you will not live any longer. So that means there's a lot of power in this molecule. And so let's get into it. You breathe. I'm pretty sure you all breathe. How do you breathe? Do you guys ever question that? What is the way you breathe? Why do you breathe? So when you ask these questions, you're going to realize the way you've been breathing has been an unconscious process. You've been doing it just because your body unconsciously does it. But do you truly breathe consciously? And that's what we want to try to accomplish today. And so I'm going to first teach you how to fundamentally breathe. It's called diaphragmatic breathing. We have this big diaphragm right underneath our lungs, right above all of our GI system. And it looks like a parachute. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys. Because you know what? I realize you should also see visuals. Oh, by the way, this is my transcript for what I'm writing for Corona. It's one of those things I just realized, like, I'm like a breathwork expert. I gotta come in and really solve this problem. But let's look at the diaphragm. The diaphragm looks like a big parachute. And this thing right here is a fractal, if you can fathom that, of the heart. As the heart pumps, it's pumping all the blood through your head, through your body. But it's pumping, it's subconscious, autonomic. You don't think about it. You know, if you stop thinking about your heart, still gonna be breathing. And so your diaphragm does the very same thing when you breathe. So when you're, like right now, you're probably focusing on you breathing, and just take like 2 seconds just to see how you breathe. Is it shallow? Is it deep? Probably it's really shallow. Thank you, Leanne. Yeah, it's very shallow. The pulsations are very light. And that's what your body realized, just knows. Yeah, that's what your body, you've trained your body to breathe that way. Because it's like, what is the importance level? Because remember, you need oxygen, so you're always going to get a constant flow, and your body's going to allocate that oxygen to your brain and then to the other organ systems. So right now, do me a favor. I want you to remember 2 phrases. Expand belly, rise chest. Let me see if I can show you my belly. Okay. Watch this. Put your left hand on your belly, right hand on your heart. Okay. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna expand the belly, and we're gonna rise the chest. Give it a go. Touch your belly, touch your chest, expand the belly, rise the chest. And try to exaggerate it. That right there, you know, we took that inhalation, we took it in, and then we exhaled it. But that inhalation was too bimodal. You didn't just, no, because you didn't activate the diaphragm. Remember, that diaphragm is that sheet that you're looking at right now. This big sheet. And so when you expand the belly, that diaphragm completely sinks. And it's squishing your GI organs. It's squishing it. So essentially, we'll get into the mechanical aspects of it, but so many things are happening at the same time. But for just this moment, for you to understand how to breathe, just know, left hand on your belly, right hand on your heart, expand the belly. Now you're pushing it down, rise the chest. You're bringing the oxygen up. So this takes us to the next, more interesting part. Okay, so let me just fix the webcam. This is my favorite part. Cool. So fundamentally, 3 things are happening to you while you're breathing. One is mechanical. You know, the fact that your organs, your lungs, your muscles, your tissues, everything is expanding, contracting, expanding, contracting. So mechanical. Chemical. You're taking this excess oxygen from the air and you're diffusing it with carbon dioxide, which is a metabolite from your daily living, and you're breathing it out. So you're taking the metabolite, the toxins, everything out, you're bringing in purity. Third, so at the same time, chemically, not only are you bringing in excess oxygen, you're also getting a hormonal effect, which we'll get into. What the third phase, which is electrical. Now, let's go on a simulation. You're breathing. This motion is happening. It's happening. And so your muscles are working out, your lungs are working out, your nerves are working out. At the same time, you're taking the oxygen. The oxygen is flooding all over your cells. Cells that normally don't get that much oxygen from that shallow breath, you're getting it now. It's getting it, forcibly getting it. And you want that. Now, as you're getting more oxygen, understand your diaphragm is also going up and down, up and down, up and down. So what it does, it creates an undulated motion of your CSF. This is gonna get a little, unless you have some deep knowledge about the human nervous system, this is gonna get interesting. Okay, there we go. This is your central nervous system. That's your brain, your spinal cord is encased in this nice sheet. And inside that sheet, the constituents are charged molecules and charged proteins, electrolytes, charged proteins, charged molecules, just charge. Think of that whole thing right now as a battery. And the battery just has a lot of fluid that's electrochemical by nature. So now hopefully you're getting where I'm trying to take you. You're essentially, when you're undulating the diaphragm, you're fundamentally shifting that fluid up and down your spine, up and down your spine. And as a result of that, you're charging up your central nervous system. And as you keep doing this breath, this diaphragmatic breath, for long periods of time, not only are you charging up the center of your body, it's permeating, radiating towards the peripherals. Yes, Lee, absolutely. And this is what fundamentally happens. Your nervous system, with that excess oxygen, charges up so much that your cells enter something called superpositioning. Think of quantum mechanics. So when you study quantum theory, you realize all states of matter can exist at the same time. When you just think about you when you're going for a run, you get that endorphin, that runner's high. What is fundamentally happening? You're creating this altered state of consciousness. And so your cell, when they experience it, they enter a quantum state. At that point, your cell becomes God. Your cell has the ability to do anything. And I want to remind you, there's a lot of you. How many of you guys are in here? Any number? Yeah, 26 people. 26 of you might have your individual names, individual who you think you are, but fundamentally, you are a collection of 50 to 100 trillion cells. Take a second to fathom that number. 50 to 100 trillion. And so you're a community. You, Shanila, is a community of 50 to 100 trillion cells. You Audit, you're a community of 50 to 100 trillion cells. Like, can you fathom this? It's not just you. It's individual parts of you that make you who you are. So when you do this breath and your cells become in a superposition state, one of the key benefits is it shuts down the pain receptors. So this is great for my clients that have musculoskeletal pain. When we do this breath, they become so numb. It's like they're taking 10x of a Vicodin. Like their body is completely numbed out, but then they're fully aware, fully alert, and they move in positions that they wouldn't have been able to do in decades. It's because you're giving those cells. It's like thinking of like turning on a factory. That factory might be, you probably neglected it for a while, but when you bring in new materials, new resources, that factory starts up again. And so your cell starts waking up again. And so the last magical part, when you get so charged up and when you do the breathwork where you shunt all the blood to your brain, there's something called the hypothalamus. Oh, there we go. This little sac, it's really funny just like thinking about this, because it has two compartments, a posterior pituitary and an anterior pituitary. And they release pretty much all the chemicals of your body, the hormones of your body. We have the ADH, the oxytocin, the feel good, the thyroid gives you energy, making hormones, the adrenocortical, steroids, corticosteroids, everything, prolactin, growth hormone. GH, testosterone, is actually a derivative of GH. gonadotropins, the sex hormones are all made here. So when you take in that breath, you hold it, squeeze, you funnel it to the center, right at the temple, go back like maybe 2 inches. That right there is your little pituitary, your hypothalamus, and these hormones, think of it like ruffling a tree. They all just get released into the system. And so not only are you completely like floating, you are actually healing as well, because you release these hormones, the hormones of their job, and you're not in a state of stress. That's what breathing is. So right now, what I want to do, I want to engage you guys, because you guys probably heard me talk for a little bit. Let's do this. I want to do, man, I wish I could see you guys. Let me see how I could do this. All right, I'll just trust you guys that you'll see yourselves. Everyone get comfortable. Shanila, can you tell me if they're sitting, or I don't know how you would, but we'll just do it. I'll do it with you. We're gonna sit upright, tall. Like imagine there's a string attached to your head. You're gonna pull it up. You're gonna pull it up. You're gonna sit tall. Again, we're gonna do, let's say, if we click on turn on video, you can see us. Click on turn on video. Let's try this. Thanks, Deb. Up to you to be. Oh yeah, that's true. If you want to be on video, I just wanted to get your posture right so I can actually help navigate you as well. But yeah, 100%. That's fine. Cool. I'll watch it afterwards. But yeah, so sit up tall. Your right hand on your heart, your left hand on your belly, and we want to do 10 reps. Simple 10 reps. But on the last 10th one, when we take that big inhalation, the last part of the inhalation, which is like, after you do the belly expansion, rise your chest, and then you want to hold it, but you want to squeeze. Like think of it almost like you're trying to go to the bathroom and you're constipated. You want to squeeze, because what you're fundamentally doing is when you're contracting all your muscles, you're shunting all the blood, and the blood has only one way to go, which is up and down. And if you squeeze this area, you actually hit that area and you ruffle those feathers of the hormones that are in your pituitary. So let's get it started. You'll hear me, and mind you, this background shamanic drumming that I have in the background was intentional. I want this to pace you. So when you do breathe, think about the way you're breathing. How many, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, how many seconds do you take? Okay, great. All right, so in 3, 2, 1. One. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Last one. Remember, you're going to hold it in that last phase of inhalation. Hold it for 5 seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. Squeeze. Hold it. Let it go. Now, I've been doing this for quite a amount of time, so now I'm able to charge up that the pineal gland where you can see the visuals. But hopefully you guys feel a little luminous, very relaxed. Just that sensation of you controlling the rhythmic flow of oxygen up and down your body, up and down your body. Okay, how did you guys feel? Yep. Oh, whoops. Yep, Megan. So the stars is essentially, it's going to blow your mind. The stars that you see, the illumination, is actually your DMT crystals. So if you were to take your ears, goes to the center of your head, that's where the pineal gland is. And the pineal gland has these DMT crystals. You have different derivatives of it inside your brain. But once that area, and think of it like a sac as well, it looks very much like a sac. I think I have a picture of this right here. Oh, perfect. Yeah, this is great. This sac right here releases a derivative of melatonin and all these things. And once it's charged up, and it's like a crystal, so it gets squished. And when it gets squished, there's like a crystal light that sort of forms. And so as you train in breath work, you essentially, it's just like you're training a muscle. You want to get big biceps, you got to continue to do repetition. So as you do more and more breath, and I got to tell you guys, I probably did over 10,000 hours of this breathing, but just like, again, it's optimizing the physical form. And so you can actually, no joke, get entheogenic properties. So think of a Mother Aya, think of psilocybin, think of lysergic. Those chemicals are essentially what's inside of your brain already. You're just flooding your body with those chemicals. But technically, if you train, if you fundamentally understand what the properties are in your brain and you actually work towards it, your body does it. 100% natural. It is the most surefire way of getting a high, because fundamentally we have the best substance, which is oxygen, but we take it for granted. But as you learn more and more about this, you see the magical powers of oxygen. Yeah, so let's see. Any questions? Because I know I talked about a lot, and I just want to make sure I'm able to disseminate that information. Okay. So there's no questions. Let's see what else we could talk about. So now you know. There's 3 fundamental. I love hearing the science behind it all thing. Oh yeah, absolutely. Can you share some more rituals? Oh my goodness. I can go on and on, depending on like where you want to be. So like I said, Alpha Health was created really to optimize the physical form, because I know millennials like us, we are all about optimization. And to be honest, I got on Instagram like legit maybe 4 weeks ago, and I started realizing the power of Instagram, and there's some phenomenal people there, and it's just showing me what humans want to do. And so Alpha Health is going to be right there to just optimize you. So perfect. So breathing, immunity, we didn't get to that yet. Can you share your Insta handle? Of course. So now let's go back to the topic of why you're here, right? So you saw primal breathing for immunity. It applies full on. So primal breathing, which I just explained to you, and I showed you the logic behind it. So this is primal breathing. Now, how does it relate to immunity? Perfect segue into what's happening with the whole Corona issue. Corona, COVID, whatever you would like to call it. And let's just get into it. What is it, and what is my understanding of this, and how I can help prepare you guys? So Corona is a respiratory infection, right? So you guys know that these little, oh my God, I think I have a picture of it, how small these things are. Maybe I didn't put it in here. Pretty sure I did. Oh, that's gonna be a good picture. I guess I don't have it. But Corona is very small, like so small that it's unreal. It's think of it like 100 times the size of your hair. Like if you take one hair cell, think of the virus as like a 100 times that small scale. And so these viruses, you obviously get them through the air passages. You breathe it in. That's why they're telling everyone to wear masks. You want to prevent that. But fundamentally, when it goes inside your lungs, it hits your alveoli, which is these little air sacs. I believe I have a picture of them somewhere. I'm sorry if I'm going up and down. Just close your eyes. I'll tell you when to look. That's really the goal. Lymphatic. There we go. Perfect. Let's look at this. So when oxygen comes into your And think of the oxygen as like trees. Oh, this is gonna blow your mind because you guys should really learn about fractals. Okay, cool. Lung architecture. Okay, let's look at a picture. If you guys like science, I'm about to blow your mind continuously. Okay, look at this. Look at the way your trachea is set up, and then your bronchioles diverge. Tell me if you didn't flip that around. Tell me that doesn't look like a tree, because it is. We're from the earth. We're essentially a fractal of the earth in every part of our body, and I can go on to ad nauseum about this. But for right now, look at the lungs. Architecture of a tree. Scale it down. Zoom in. Look at this. Another tree. Now, but these little balls right here is the alveoli. So let's go back. This is the alveoli now. And so when oxygen comes in, carbon dioxide gets diffused, and we have this exchange. A beautiful dance, really. It's a dance. Almost all of chemistry is like a dance of love. It's very fascinating if you really look into it. So now, when these little viruses, critters come in, they attack the lining, the alveoli. And so what happens is there's cilia. Oh, give me a sec. There's cilia lining all of these little balls, all the tracheas, the bronchioles, bronchus, all of it. And so when the virus gets in there, it starts replicating. So the virus is, it's not really living. It's very strange to really define what it is. But essentially, it's like a spaceship with some DNA or RNA, in this case RNA, and these spaceships go into the cell, hijack the cell's nucleus, tells the cell's nucleus, hey, start synthesizing this RNA, DNA, and then hey, start making our shell for our virus, and so then it starts packaging it up, and then now what you have is the cell becoming a factory for these viruses, and then the viruses eventually get so big inside the cell has to burst, and then they spread again. And that's where the virality nature of that word comes from, what a virus is. It's not living, it just hijacks your cell to make more of it, and it hijacks more and more and more, and your immune system, that's where your immune system kicks in to really kick it up a notch and get rid of it. So in our case, what's happening is, once you can no longer diffuse, it becomes like a leaky situation, and so mucus starts building up, just gunk, and it becomes filled with water or fluid, not really water, but fluid. And so you start getting congestion. And so that's where the issue is, because now these elder people or these people that are chronically depressed in their immunity, they don't know how to fight it. They can't fight it. And they have these exogenous things that are put inside them to help them really take care of their own body, which is never really that's another story. So they end up, this is the fascinating part. So they end up getting pneumonia. So the first stage of this virus is it first infects you, and then you just start making more of it. But then now you can't kill it fast enough that it takes over. And so you have fluid buildup, and then you start getting pneumonia. Pneumonia, if you guys are familiar, it's just a lot of fluid in the lungs. You can't breathe, it's hard to breathe. And so that's where it's dangerous. That's where all the ventilator shortages are happening. That's where all the ICUs are happening, because at that point, if you can't breathe, it's like you're drowning. You're physically drowning in an air medium. You're not in water, but you're drowning. And so as you drown, you're trying to use a ventilator to help you breathe and all that good stuff. But then what happens is, when it gets severe, you get something called ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome. Just read the words, acute respiratory distress syndrome. So you go into a distress, your lungs are essentially crying out for help. And if they can't get to you fast enough or put you on an ECMO machine, see you later. And I'm sorry about that. So with that being said, that's what's critical to you learn what we're teaching right now. Because once you learn this, you can actually fundamentally change the properties of your immune system to actually work in your favor. So now let's go straight into the immune system. What is the immune system? I believe this probably is a good image. Yep, perfect, I think. Let me see if I can make this smaller. Perfect. This is a lovely person showing us their lymphatic system. By the way, immune system is actually the lymphatic system. We just use the term immune. It just sounds for whatever reason, but it's the lymphatic system. Again, you have multiple systems in your body. It's just a simple way to describe similar patterns, but they all work together to do one thing. It's just to keep you alive, truly. So this right here, if you see all the little dots, they're lymph nodes. Think of it like a node in a system. They permeate all of your cells, just like how your blood vessels, like these little capillaries, do as well. But there's a big difference between this system and your circulatory system. The circulatory system, where your heart is pumping, right? Your heart is pumping all day, so your blood is continuously cycling. But lymphatic system doesn't work like that. Lymphatic system is a slower system, and the fluid, it's not like a red blood, it's like a milk. Maybe I can show you. I always like things that are visual. And so, yep, there we go. If you can see that. It's very white. It's almost like milk. And again, now connect the dots why we call it white blood cells, because most of it are very white and see-through, and it's just how it looks. So that's mostly lymph fluid, and that's literally just going through your body all the time. But its mode of transportation is truly you just moving around. So you're moving around, you just living out your day. And so this gets into the idea of movement, right? So like, how much movement do you do in a day? If you're not moving as much, you're not moving the lymph fluid enough. And so you're actually not clearing out the toxins that are building up as you're living your normal day. Again, so with the heart, it's pumping the blood, but with the lymphatic, it doesn't. So now this is where the diaphragmatic breathing comes in. This is where the breath work comes in, because now truly, if you look at your heart, you have like a shell around the heart, which is the lymphatic. If you just think about the whole diaphragm itself, it's a cage. And so you can actually use your lungs to, again, undulate the flow. Because if you just imagine a ball, that's truly where we start. Like, we have a center pulse, and then we can build from there. And that's our heart, it's our pulse, and also field. But in the case of the lymphatic, in this system, once you're doing this rhythmically for a long period of time, you're essentially undulating the fluid up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And as a result of that, look at these guys. You have the thymus, the tonsils. Oh my God, don't even get me into tonsils. Tonsils are essentially your natural vaccination. But the thymus, spleen, the GI has its own lymph system. It's insane. Small intestine, and then the bone marrow, where the blood is actually created. So each of these nodes, when, say, hypothetically, let's say, this is corona for now. Let's just say you got exposed to corona, came into your nose, and so through your nose, this whole area, you literally have a ring of tissue, lymph tissue, which is the tonsils, unless you've taken them out. But if you still have them, you essentially have one on the top, on the back, and the side. It's literally a ring. And so when it's essentially, its whole job is to figure out what dirt are you taking in, what extra stuff are you taking in, and is it safe or not safe? And so, especially for bugs like bacteria, viruses, fungi, anything, it's taking a sample and then figuring out what needs to activate, whether it be the humoral immunity or innate immunity or immunologic immunity. Depending on what it is, it's going to activate that. So once it comes in, creates the little antigens or antibodies, and then guess what? If it goes anywhere further, the system will continuously keep replenishing and then figure out, hey guys, it's essentially like a beacon. It's pulsing. The bugs are pulsing because the immune system literally coats it with its antigens to know where it is, and it just starts targeting and destroys it. So getting back to our main topic, primal breathing for immunity. Essentially what I'm trying to get at is, once you do this type of breath work, and don't even see it as a work, see it as a practice. You're practicing on how to consciously breathe. And at that moment, when you do that, all of your lymph, you're cleaning it out essentially you're filtering your blood constantly through the lymph, as you can see from the lymph node and how the architecture looks. It's just so fascinating. And so you will actually boost your immunity by magnitudes. Like no antibiotic, no antiviral, no genomics, no proteomics drugs can emulate what you have already inside of you. You give me the most cutting edge scientific medical device that can replicate this, then we know we've reached a crescendo of science and technology, but we have not. Our body still is the premier technology to take care of itself. It's fundamentally designed to innately make sure that you are taken care of. And it didn't happen overnight. It happened over hundreds of thousands of millions of years of the organism to become what it is. So with that being said, I want to do the breath again. I want to use variability. This is one of the things about habit forming. I want to help you guys build habits. And so as a result of that, I want to do it. So not in a very structured way, so or else you'll prepare for it and then you might have anxiety or whatever the reason, just randomly, just on the fly. So let me pull up the chat window. Guys, everyone sit up. Cool. Yeah, everyone sit up and let me just see how I look. Cool, cool. All right. Let's all sit up. Again, we're gonna do this time 15. So it seems like you guys enjoyed it, so let's do 15. I mean, my clients, we do it for legit hours because there's a lot of work that needs to be done on them. But for now, for us, we're just gonna do 15. And then again, for the last one, for the 15th one, hold it for this time 10 seconds. If you could go longer, great, because what's gonna happen is if you can hold your breath for longer and longer periods of time, the luminosity of your pineal, it actually starts charging up. And when you can't handle it anymore, just let go and welcome back. Okay, let's do this. All right, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, whoops, hold it. Hopefully you guys have your eyes closed, because this is what it is to be in VR, virtual reality. When you put on those goggles, you're trying to feel the sensation. You yourself are in a simulation. Your inner world is expanse, it's vast. You can take control of it. It's all up to you. But you have to want it. If you don't want it, you're not going to get it. Thank you, guys. Okay, let's see what you guys got. Questions?
Yes, feel free to unmute yourself or type it in the chat if you have any questions. Let us know your experience. What did you feel? What were the sensations? Says, I feel fresher. I've been super congested with allergies today and 100% clear now. Woohoo, thanks, says Megan. Awesome. Don asks, how many times a day should we do this?
Okay, so these are good questions. So depends, right? Where are you in your journey of your health? So are you an athlete? If you better question is, yeah, so when I do my fitness assessment, I try to figure out, wait, if you do this before bed, will you be too awake? No, no. So this is great. So depending on your circumstances. So if you're doing this before bed, you'll actually be more relaxed because it's the intentions that you set in the beginning. Because remember, you're flooding your body with many different types of hormones. So you decide what you want to use. If you want, like right now, I am wired because that's the mindset I want to be. But if you want to be in bed and you do this, you will literally have an opioid reaction and you just melt away. Hopefully that answers your question, Ms. Robertson. And as for Don, how many times a day? Depends, right? So like I said, if you want to be a superhuman, you want to do this, to be honest, at least an hour, two times a day, 1 hour each. And this doesn't have to be just focused, you sitting, meditating, and doing it. If you want, that will even elevate you higher. But you walking and you just consciously doing this diaphragmatic breath, you will actually do the same thing. It's just you have to consciously allocate that time. You have to allocate, okay, for 1 hour, I will do this breath work. And so as you're just living out your day, you will do that breath work. But if you can allocate some time in the morning, especially if you're a 4:30 person or a 5:30 person, is astronomically beneficial because at that time of your day where the hormones start cycling, you can leverage that. So to keep it simple, 2 times a day, 30 minutes minimum if you're just starting out. But as you get better and better, you yourselves will get addicted to this process. So I don't have to tell you anything. I just have to get you started. And if you enjoyed it now, you just see how much benefits you can experience if you're even more relaxed and more in a meditative state and just want to elevate.
That is so true. So somebody asked, can you share the music you're playing? It's very relaxing.
Absolutely, absolutely. You guys won't understand how invaluable YouTube is. Like there's just every type of humans available on the planet just posting content there. And what I'll do is, yeah, right here, shamanic drumming. And there's a reason why, like I told you guys, it's because I want you to first figure out how to monitor your breath, and having something in the background as a tempo, and especially drumming, is great. If you do this 30 frames per an hour, do you still only squeeze the last breath? Or yeah, great question. Depends, right? So usually when you do that squeeze, you want to have essentially a release from your tensions of all your body. But you need, like, it's like a boost up phase. Like if you take one breath and you squeeze, you won't get that effect. You have to channel the blood a few times, the oxygen coming in, so that way you can actually get the therapeutic benefits. But what I highly recommend, if you just saw this, 10 reps, then do it. 10 reps and do it. And I've been testing this out. I'm trying to tweak it. What's the minimum amount of reps to get there? I reached a point where I could do 5 breaths and I can take a really large breath and I squeeze and I get the endorphin rush. I get all the hormones released. But in the beginning, it depends. Where are you in your journey of conditioning yourself? But every 10 reps, squeeze, do it, and just do it as you want to do it and how much you want to experience. And if you want to be really, really relaxed, do it before bed. Then you can do it multiple times. Wim Hof. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. Raven's probably Raven Reed. That's a really cool name. Wim Hof. He is the funniest character ever. Yes. He made this so interesting and easy for people to access. He's just a funny guy. A lot of my clients, I actually show the Wim Hof videos. If you actually go to my YouTube channel, I'll just show you here. Actually, I don't want to change that. I wanted to show you guys how the diaphragm looked and stuff. Shack Talk. Yeah, I have a podcast too, Shack Talk. I talk to really interesting people. Shakil is definitely going to be on it. Just look out for that. But yeah, so check this out. Alpha Health presents Wim Hof Breathing Basics. So I essentially found a really, really good one, a guided meditation from him. So if you don't want to consciously think about having that cognitive load to actually even do the breath work, and you just want someone to guide you, like I help guide you right now, go to my YouTube channel, play this video. It has an amazing sound. Everybody always asks me for it. So go give that a go. Let's see. If you do this for 30 minutes, okay, perfect. Hopefully that answers your question, Raven. Have you heard of the 3-6-5 breathing process? Breathe in for 3 seconds, hold for 6, exhale for 5. Is it different in? Yeah. So for individuals that are just getting started, yeah, if you just tack on any of these, as long as you get the mechanics of the breath, right? So right now I'm at a point where I have conscious control over, I'm trying, I'm not there yet, but like, let's just say 75% of my being. So I can consciously realize that, okay, I'm contracting my diaphragm. I know exactly what 3D in space that I'm contracting. So I don't have to worry about the logistics of it. Now it just became, it's like you're riding a bike. In the beginning, you got to figure out, okay, I got to put my left leg up, right leg up, or even driving a car. But then after a while, it becomes autonomous. You essentially, I forgot to mention this, but essentially, if you realize what I've been doing this whole time, if you look at Alpha Health, movement, nutrition, mindset, I've been implanting an app into your brain. That's it. Just like how you have a phone, right? You have a phone and you install apps. Humans do the same exact thing. Remember, we created computers, we created machines. So humans, our apps are not called apps, they're called habits. Once you do behaviors more and more, they become autonomous, like your body just learns how to do them, and they are called habits. So I don't know who this person is, but for the breathing process or that different style, do it. Just learn it. Once you learn it, once you understand how your mechanics are working, you can apply any methodology and you'll get the same effect. Because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is let our body heal. Hopefully I got that across, guys, because breathing itself, oxygen itself is a nourishing. It's food. It's nowhere near the amount of energy you get from just breathing. Food is great, tastes good, we evolved with it, but breathing is so foundational and it's just so fascinating. Do you have any guided ones by you? I'm actually looking into making some. I'm a little particular on how I want this experience to be, and I want the best for my clients, best for my viewers, best for my audience. So I'm getting there. I'm learning this whole social media game, but I'll get there, because fundamentally what I just spent the last 10 plus years doing is learning the science, learning how to apply Western science to Eastern science, and how we're all connected to one source, right? So if you look at my logo, where is it pointing? Pointing to one. So it's something that I'm gonna do. Any other questions?
So there was one more question. Is this helpful for asthma?
Oh, that's gonna get into a rabbit hole. Okay, so we have to fundamentally ask, what is asthma, right? So asthma is in any particulates that go inside of you that causes a reaction that your body does not like, and it just inflames, right? Inflammation is asthma, inflammation of the bronchial tree. And so 100%. What you're gonna do is actually, like I told you, when you put your cells in superposition state, you can work on it. It can work on itself. Like you just thinking about it will work on it, because you're giving it a lot of attention, a lot of blood. Blood pretty much cures everything. It's just you have to get the proper nutritious blood there. So for asthma, as you do this more and more, what will happen is something called desensitization. You will get desensitized to the pathogen, the allergen that's causing you this. And you want to sort of slowly expose yourself to that allergen and do the breath work. Let your body get that contaminant, figure out what it is, but it's so strong that it can affect it. And as you get more and more better with the breath work, when this allergen comes in, boom, it's just like, oh, hey, what's up? See you later. Peace. But yeah, it can definitely do it. But it takes a lot of practice, just FYI.
It takes a lot of practice and a lot of effort and just a lot of repetition to just build up these immunities. And the beautiful part about breathwork, any style, not the one we covered today, or just, the ones we've been hearing about in the chat, it's just a practice. You have to keep doing it, build up that muscle, like you said. And so good luck, everybody. And I'm going to drop Shakil's information on here so that you'll be able to get his contact, and also check out the rest of the events that are coming up for the next couple of weeks on WellSet, and connect with myself. My name is Shanila. I'm part of the Integrative Wellness Leaders. We have tons of programming coming up. We have mentorship for leaders, health and wellness leaders, events coming up. And yeah, thank you so much. Megan says that was fantastic. Raven says thank you. Mahfouz from New York says, keep doing your
Shout
shit.
out, shout out to Mahfouz. Thank
Hey,
you for joining us.
Mahfouz.
Audit. Who else?
Are you also
Let's
from
just give a shout
Bangladesh,
out.
Mahfouz?
Yeah, I think yeah, Mahfouz is from Bangladesh.
Mahfouz
Yeah.
from Bangladesh. I'm from Bangladesh.
We
Audit says,
have.
super fun. Keep it up. Paulina says, thank you. And we appreciate you
Hey,
so much. Hope to have you back and catch up with you soon.
thank you guys, everyone. If I haven't said your name, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you. And WellSet, check it out. I'm a practitioner there. I'm going to be teaching breath work and anxiety, stress, and all that good stuff. Just check out my profile. Yeah, Chanel will hook you guys up with my social feed, and I want to connect with you guys. Take care.
Yes, and this recording will be up at some point on WellSet's Vimeo, but we're all putting in our time pro bono right now, so just be patient with us. It will be up there at some point.
Exactly.
Blessings, miracles for everybody. See you guys.